So we're going to be talking a little bit about innovation as it relates to hydrogen and these ladies' experiences going through the Mount Royal University innovation programs. And I guess really the first thing I want to talk about is you both have done innovation inside of your companies before you entered a Mount Royal program, but then you also did innovation inside of one of the Mount Royal programs. And I'd love you to be able to take turns and chat about the differences between each of those.
Sounds good. Yeah, so we did the Growth Catalyst specifically program, and that really, from, before to, after, I had my concepts of, who we wanted to go after, what strategies we were using and, how our system functioned. But once we kind of went through the program, it allowed us to A, validate what we were doing, and then B, go to the team and really spread that information, make sure that everyone in our team is on the same page. So whether it was validating what customers were using, validating who we're using as a supplier for, a particular thing that we're doing, it's really looking at the overall things that we're doing and really implementing that throughout the team and not just, at the highest level of the company. So getting that buy-in from everyone in our organization.
Yeah, so I guess for me, pre-innovation Catalyst program, the information would come from probably a salesperson. It would get put into a list, and then you would choose which project to work on, make a lot of assumptions about what kind of details should go into the design, and then make a product and see what happens. And then after going through the MRU program, there's a lot more validating assumptions and getting answers a lot faster and making sure that you're working on the right thing.
Yeah, and full disclosure, about 5 or 6 years ago, Jackie and I actually went through the innovation program together, part of one company. So we have a bit of shared history there. And I guess what I found going through the program was there was usually an epiphany moment where there's a spot where you go, oh my goodness, now I understand what's happening here. Was there a moment for I'll start with Jackie because I led there. Was there a moment like that for you, Jackie?
I don't know how good this is going to sound, but I think the moment for me was when we actually plotted out how long it took us in each stage, brainstorming versus validating. And it was just, we realized that we had almost stagnated for a while and just not got to the next step. For me, that actually was huge because after that, I realized how important it is to just keep driving forward.
And I wouldn't say there was one particular thing, but there was lots of smaller, things that we would do, as a segment of the program, and we'd go, okay, let's implement this. This is a, great concept. So simple things that our team is doing, one of the things that we learned was, that $100,000 meeting. We realized that we don't need to have those $100,000 meetings anymore, right? What can we do to really use our time as efficiently as possible so that we reduce those, resources? And so those little little steps, and it's a lot comes down to networking too, right? Working with different organizations that are completely different industries and seeing what their pinch points are. So just that communal networking of validating things that you're experiencing versus someone else experiencing really plays a big part into that. We had a company that we've had 600% increase in sales through other technology developments, and we've learned a lot of things throughout those times. But this next hydrogen and the space that we're getting into with this clean tech industry, it's only up from here, and we want to make sure that everything that we're doing now is laying all that framework so that as this evolves and as we develop, we're able to take it to the next level, and we're not going backwards and taking those steps.
Well, that tees up my next question really well. Talking about outcomes from the MRU programs. So really, what I'm hearing you say is, and I guess you've already kind of commented on it, but the program helped you get additional revenue for speed to market, and versus how you were doing it before? I don't know if you had to comment on that, Jackie.
So based on my experience going through the program, I was not one of the business leaders in the company, but I can definitely speak to the fact that the validation you get from talking to customers and asking the right questions faster, huge difference going through like a growth catalyst program versus the way that people usually do it, which is like making an assumption on what the market wants and then finding out later whether or not there's actually a fit.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to actually combine the last two questions a little bit. As professional women leaders in your organizations, and knowing that there needs to be certain attitudes that help success in general, but really success and innovation. Would you have a comment to women out there that are looking at either the Growth Catalyst program or working in the hydrogen industry of, has the program, do you think that program helps your career, or do you think that it's good also just for your company, or like, how do you kind of mix all that soup together?
I think one of the biggest things, me personally, is getting outside of, my comfort zone. So, you sit in your office and you think, oh, this is what I want to do, this is what we're doing, and then you go into a group, with the Growth Catalyst program, for instance, and you sit around with a whole bunch of peers and they throw concepts at you and say, hey, what about this, what about this, what about this? So it's getting outside of that comfort zone and, getting you so that you're, not in your day-to-day monotony of, this is what we do, this is what we know, and so just getting out there. And then the other thing would be a mentor, right? So, and just having colleagues. Like, I've known Jackie for a couple of years now, and just saying, hey, like, how are you guys doing on this, or have you tried out this, or I think it comes down to having a mentor, or just even networking with other women in the industry that are going through the same type of pinch points, and validating again what you're doing, and going from there.
Yeah, I guess I'll add, to directly answer your question, yes, I think it's very good for my career to go through a program like this. My innovation mindset completely changed after taking the Innovation Accelerator. It was probably 5 or 6 years ago now. I look at it everywhere in my life, including my career. So the first kind of decade, I was in manufacturing and I loved it, and now I'm trying to make hydrogen, which is pretty different. And I never would have got here if I hadn't looked at my career as like an innovation. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Okay, we only have 1 minute left. When you walk into a growth program, Innovation Accelerator, what's the one attitude you got to leave at the door?
I think curiosity. You have to be willing to ask questions and act on it.
Okay.
And I think that just goes back to my previous point: is get outside of your comfort zone, try new things, experience new things, and I mean, it's the worst you're going to hear is no, right?
Wonderful. And thank you very much, ladies. This is wonderful.